No volume this whole time. I'm still keeping this trade, I don't care. So, like I said, following the second move down in here, looking for another VWAP rejection. That's where I got in. As we're coming back up, I was looking for a rejection of 19,900, and we saw that in here, so I doubled down with a stop at break even. So the initial risk was what we were risking in the first place. Oh, I still have my orders over here, that's why. All right, again, recap. Entered the second move down off of VWAP. Added to my position, thinking that we're going to go down with a stop at break even, so I'm not risking more money. I'm just having a higher risk to reward aspect, and I don't have to chase the trade that far down. So to get a 6 risk to reward, I would look to go here. Since I doubled down in here, my 6 risk to reward would be around here. So in theory, if I cut this trade right now, I would still be around 4 risk to reward, which we're going to hold it, and we're looking for a little more to the downside, maybe 19,850, and see what we get when we touch there. I'm going to sell another small part of this position in here. We get this nice little push. A little bit more. I have 40 cons. Yeah, I'll note half there. Just a little bit more and we're good. I was saying before, my Thinkorswim is lagging. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because I have a whole bunch of screens up to the top. Or we might need an update in here. Alright, we have another 20 cons here. That's an ugly candle for my position in here. I'm out. Yeah, I didn't like the look of that. Alright, so we're looking at a nice $3,800 on the day. We grabbed 50% of our position at 224, another 50% at 252, and we sold a third at 287, 308, and then 288 on that move back. As you can see, we're coming back in here. I was a little too emotional with the profits because I ended up having a nice profit in there already. I didn't want to turn a $3,000 day into a $1,000 day, whatever it would be with time decay and stuff like that. So very happy. The risk to reward was still very good, being that I added to my cons and not leaving the actual stop loss there. It was at break even with the merger of both the cons. That is the number one key if you're following into movement and you're following into price, to get a good risk to reward if you want to possibly get out a little early or just make more money. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Thursday, May 8th, 12:10 p.m. We're going to look to get into a short trade here and reverse the market. I'm looking for a quick scalp since the market's very strong today. We're up about 1.7%, which is pretty massive. With that being said, obviously you can see no trades today. Let's get down to it. All right, we are short SPY. Now with this, I got short SPY instead of NQ. Very, very simple. I tell my traders this all the time, that we have 1.34, 1.72. Obviously, SPY is weaker on the day, or ES is weaker on the day. Now we also have this divergence in here where we made almost a equal high, and then you look at SPY and we have a lower high in here. So I'm going to look to take profit 1, 2, and then 3 in here. All right, I think I'm going to look to add here now. All right, I'm going to take it with a pretty nasty loss if we get down here. Max loss is going to be about $2,800 right here. The longer we hang out here, the more sellers are going to get eaten up in the supply, which is the problem, which is kind of worrying me here. A nice crash out underneath 2286 would be perfect. You can see buyers are holding this area right now, but we need to start to see sellers reloading here. Volume's also decreasing a little bit. That might give us some help here. Once my profit target usually hits 1.5 or so to my stop loss, for example, we're looking to lose $2,800 max. So anywhere around that, $4,000, $3,500 threshold of profits, I move to break even. I'm not going to move my stop orders yet here, because it can still swing the other way very, very quick. But once we start to hit that point, that's what I'll take my stop off here. I'll start sizing out around hopefully $6,000, hopefully. All right, this is not what we're looking for here. Pretty annoyed with this. I'm going to let the plan stick and stay. I just don't know why we're not dropping here. We need to start to see some drop, something underneath this level in here for NQ. Now, usually I'm trading the 9:30, 9:45 to like 10:30, 11 a.m. session, but I just found that there's too much volatility recently. The market today is not so bad, but about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, there were 160 point candles, 1 minute candles on NQ. And as a normal trader, I just can't keep up with that. And I think if you're trading that, you're literally gambling. If you don't get absolutely lucky to get the bottom or the top of a candle, and it then goes in your favor, again, not when it opens, just the actual bottom or the actual top at any time frame, or any time in that 1 minute time frame, you're literally gambling because it's moving 160 points. Now, for me, it's usually a 20-point stop loss, 15-point stop loss on NQ. It used to be even lower. So if you think about that in perspective, the chances of me winning a trade at that time is very slim. All right, we're back in drawdown here, which I'm not happy about. If sellers are not going to be in the market in a supply zone and buyers keep on chugging over here, it's inevitable to get stopped out. We need to start to see some falling here. I'd really like to see VWAP come to this 30-minute supply right here and be a nice confluence. All right. Full porting my whole account here now. Hoping for a small move down. Oh, I cracked myself up. Like I said, time decay is eating me up right now, and it's frustrating. This is the problem with options. Do you go according to the number on the option chain, or do you go according to your original theory? They skew each other for risk to reward. Massive loss. Tried sizing up. Sized up too much, obviously. It was only supposed to be 30 cons. We ended up doing 60, but just trying to scale forward and scale too much. But all right, massive loss here. I only tried to get 30 extra contracts. I ended up getting 60, unfortunately. Still, the loss would have been greater than I liked. Time decay ate me up, and I also sized up a lot more than I usually do. That being said, you want to make more, you have to risk more. At the end of the day, if I want to stay at this size, I need to accept the losers, and usually it's when you size up the first day or two, you end up taking those losers, which kind of eats away your profits from when you were sized down. If that makes any sense. For example, if I took 5 contracts and I was making $1,000 a day, and now all of a sudden I take 15 contracts or 10 contracts, my losers are going to be way more than my winners, or almost as much as my winners, and it's going to skewer everything for the first week or two that you're sizing up. This isn't the first time I lost $4,000, and it's not the most I've ever lost either, but for the week it's took a nice chunk out. I was sitting at $12,000 in profit, and now we're sitting at obviously about 8. So it is what it is. We still have tomorrow to make it up. Now, this is something that I wanted to go over. If we look at the pre-market plan for ES or even NQ, but now if we look at the pre-market plan for NQ, it's absolutely a banger here. I said I wanted a shorter ceiling of 20,200. Obviously, we never got that ceiling. Targeting a VWAP or a ceiling of 20,150 slash VWAP. That is what we got right here. So if you were to follow plan and short this right here, we would look at our take profits. We'd target 20,100 and a ceiling of 20,100. I'm looking for 20,050 slash 20,000. So if you ended up shorting a ceiling of this, which would have been here or here, this, if you ended up shorting this with no confluence or whatever, you would have took a small loss here, but again, that's fine. Even shorting this in here, our take profits would have been 20,050, like I said, which is this key area, and also 20,000 flat. So now that we look at that, our profits or where we would exit the trade, we would exit the trade here, which again, if we shorted here, we got that tick. We would exit the trade here if you ended up shorting this first move. I just didn't like it because there wasn't a clear rejection. Here, again, if we're scalping, here also. Now, if you're looking to hold the trade, right, and you got in at these past 2 points, you could have got 20,000 flat, which would have been great. I didn't want to short 20,050 for 20,000. That is just too much of a move down to kind of follow. Small pullback would eat you up. Now, if we look what I said when I wanted to take longs here, I wanted to hold a VWAP slash 20,150. Now we look at that again. I want to target the top of the 30-minute supply. We have 20,150 here. I mean, if you entered VWAP, great. Could have done that with a nice little confluence at 20,100, but 20,150. Now, I wrote 20,000, but I wrote in the trading floor, and I wrote 20,000. I meant 20,200, obviously. That would not make sense to long off of that. I do not edit these, so if I make a mistake, I write it in the trading floor. So not editing them, it shows that I'm not changing anything midday, that this was the plan at actually, 9:17. So we long here, we're looking for 20,200. And then after that, we're looking for, now we could possibly long here again, and then we're looking for our final take profits, which we are not longing here, would be here and here. Perfect plans. Obviously, it's sloppy. If you look in the Discord, I have it written out nice. Shorts, you could cover at any of these positions. You could short here, short again, cover, or for the final cover there. Now, after this, we would long possibly VWAP if you want, or 20,150, targeting 20,200. Again, you can long this, targeting 20,050, and then finally this last supply in here. Absolutely massive scalps. I play zone to zone. If you want to move to the next zone with better confluences or good confluences that the market's going to keep on moving, by all means, that's great. You can end up having more of a risk, more of a room for your trade to breathe, especially in a day where we're passing through pain, open pain like this. You're going to get those far stretches where the market's going to move 3 or 4 zones easily, no problem, in no time. For the scalpers, I have the zones. For the people who like to trade longer terms, you have zone to zone where you can actively manage your trade and look for the 3rd or 4th zone and get those 150, 200 points on NQ. Again, I do this every morning. I mean, it goes back and back and back. I do not miss a day. A morning plan every time. I can just keep on scrolling for well over a year. And if you think that's confusing, you just come here and I have the videos on how to do everything, how to use the Discord properly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's do this. We had a great short off of supply into the key zone, literally tick for tick. You can see the great confluence on ES in here between a lower high slash double top here off of pre-market, and then once, twice on open into demand in here. I'm looking to go long here. I think the market's going to come back into equilibrium towards VWAP. All right, we're in here. Again, if we get something like this, I'll look to add to my contracts in here and take a nice fat pay for the day. Not too nervous here. I really think we're going to try to reclaim this general area. at least touch it. And I hope we don't reject. We accept it, and then we move up to VWAP slash this secondary. Looks like almost a supply here. Yeah, I'm pretty confident in this here to go like this. And again, I'll re-add up here for a fat position and a final position. Alright, stop is break even now. Buyers really need to hold this area. I would love for us to move right off of this 2125 and not really mess around here. I'm playing this risky, but if it works off this level, it'll be very, very good here. I really need to see a hold. I don't want it to go down more. We're going to end up getting cut. Alright, let's see this tank back down here. Alright, super tight stop on this one. Literally, we break this area, I'm out. And I'm looking for some zones in here. I'm talking about like 5-6 points on NQ, I'm out. I really need to see a fall here with added volume. Like, if it doesn't fall right now, I'm literally out within seconds. Give me this drop right here. Come on. Give me this drop. Hard drop. Where are these sellers right now? Let's go. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Usually, yeah, here we go. Come on, come on, come on. A little more. Keep it going. Oh, that's an ugly sell candle. Alright, I'm gonna breathe. Let's trade pan out a little bit, see what happens. We're obviously not going to go negative on this trade. We get any sort of green here, I'm out. Oh, get ugly here and just short out everyone right here. Oh, I'm antsy. Oh, I can get so ugly right here. Where's the sellers at? Kick in, baby, right here. No more chop. Come on, no more chop. Flip red. Flip red. Oh, half my position, I'm up 4 grand. I could see maybe my biggest day ever with this crazy size. Oh, don't give me a lower, I mean a higher low. Do not give me a higher low here. We break this wick, I'm out. We break this, I'm out. Get ugly. Get ugly, get ugly, get ugly, get ugly. Oh, get ugly. Oh, there she is. Go, baby, go. Nope. Keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. Get ugly. Get so ugly. Oh, get so ugly. Oh, when she tanks when I sell the whole position. Oh my god. Alright, that's perfect. Yeah, like, now shoot up to the moon, I don't care. Like, hit that perfect demand in there. My freaking key zone in there. Don't care. 13K on the day. Biggest day ever. That size was scary. Like, usually I'm calm, but that was, oh man, that stop was so short too. I'm talking about like 6 points. And usually my option contracts, I let them ride for a very long time. I'll do a 20-25 point stop, but that worked out perfect. Trade setup itself was low quality. It was a wedge break. I was willing to lose 2 grand easily, off of almost no points in there. So risky. Nice little pullback here on the demand zone. I'm calling it. Goodbye. Good night. GG's in the chat. I'm not even sitting straight.